everybody, welcome. If this is your first time here with Cooking with Casey, my name is Casey, and I am so glad to have you with us. As you can probably tell, I'm going down the road in my car. I'm actually driving up through Indiana right now, headed towards Michigan. So I'm hoping this video turns out all right. But I left something off in my last video when I was cooking chicken soup to start the bus with Wiley. And I was telling a story. I was right in the middle of telling a story. And the cameras dropped, stopped, and all this nonsense. And I had all kinds of problems. So I want to get back to telling the story. And I got to stop and think of what story I was telling. Because it's been a while since I've been on there. And pardon me if I don't look into the camera that much, because I'm really trying to pay attention to my driving. But I think I was telling the story about... well, I honestly don't remember. No, I just don't remember. But I got a few stories about when I was driving a truck that took place, and I'll tell them. They're really, really kind of funny. But one of them was I took a load of videotapes down to Miami. They came out of California, and I got down into Miami, and when I finally found the place to unload, it was this little tiny podunk building. I'm talking like a 2-stall garage, and twice the length. It was just real little. And I walked in the front door, and I said to the receptionist, I said, I've got a load of videotapes for you. And she looked at me and she says, okay, you can just bring them right here in the front door. And I said, no, ma'am, you don't understand. I said, do you see that great big truck out there in the parking lot? And she said, yes. And I said, it's full of videotapes from one end to the other. And she said, oh, Lord, you can't bring those in here. And I said, I know. So she said, just a minute. So she called this man from the back office, and he came up front. And he said, can I help you? And I said, yes. I said, my name's Casey. I've got a truckload of videotapes for you. And he said, oh, okay. Well, let's see. We got to get you over to our dock that we use. And I said, okay. That's fine, you know. So he said, come with me. So we walked through the office, and then there was this room where his desk was. And his desk was on the other end of that room. But, oh, excuse me, I got the yawns now all of a sudden. It happens every time I try and do a video. He said in this room was a great big huge conference table. And there was probably 15 ladies sitting around this table, and none of them spoke English. And they were stuffing these envelopes full of videotapes and literature and stuff like that. Just a minute, I'm passing a wide load. And I got to make sure I get by. Oh, that guy's real friendly. I waved at him and he doesn't even wave back. But anyway, so he says, come with me, and I went with him, and we went to the other end of this room, and I sat down in this wooden chair at the end of his desk. And he sits down behind his desk, and on his desk, it is full of papers and stuff. I mean, I've never seen a desk so covered in all my entire life in an office. That thing was just heaped up with stuff. And he gets this guy on the telephone where he's going to, where I've got to go, and oh, excuse me, woo! I've been up all night driving, so that's why I'm tired. It's currently 11:30 in the morning, and I left the house at 3:30 this morning. So yeah, I'm tired. But anyway, getting back to my story. So he calls this company, and it's a printing company. And so the man at the printing company is going to give me directions to where I got to go from where I was at. So, oh, this guy's throwing stones at me. He who is without sin, let him cast the first stone. I guess that man is without sin. So anyway, squirrel, where was I? Oh, yeah, the man hands me the telephone so I can write down directions, and the telephone is all the way on the other side of his desk. So I got the cord stretched all the way over, and I'm sitting there on the phone, and I'm trying to write down these directions, and all of a sudden, the chair that I was sitting in went into a million pieces. I mean, it went all over. Those ladies at that table, they just started rolling. It was funny. But when I went down to the floor, I kept the phone to my ear, and I dragged that phone all the way across his desk, and it landed on top of me along with a whole heap of papers. I mean, I unshoveled his desk. It was everywhere. And I said, oops, sorry about your chair. I said, but a little Elmer's glue, and you could probably put it back together. And the man on the other end of the phone says, what happened? And so I told him, and he just started laughing. But anyway, I got the directions, and I went over there, and oh man, I'm tired. And so I get over there to where I'm at, and he says, now, you can't stay in your truck here tonight. This is a dangerous part of town. And I said, where am I going to stay? And he says, well, you don't have plans? I said, my truck is my bed. So he said, have you got a weapon in there? And I said, no, sir, I don't have a weapon. And he said, whatever you do, don't open the doors, don't walk the streets, nothing. I said, okay. Well, mind you, I hadn't had anything to eat, so I went out and walked the streets. Woo. Find something to eat, and I found this little Cuban restaurant. And I got in there, and I could not read the menu. They just had a menu board up on the wall. And the cook was this great big African-American man. And he come out and he says, can I help you? Now, he spoke English. Nobody else in there spoke English. And I looked around to see what everybody had. And the menu board didn't have any prices on it. So I'm thinking, oh man, I don't know. And I only had like $5 to my name. And in cash. And so I looked and I said, what this man has looks pretty good. I'll have that. So, oh man, I'm sorry about me yawning, folks. Please forgive me. So he brings me a bowl of that, or plate of that, and it was black beans and polenta, fried polenta, and something else. I don't remember what all. But man, was it good. And those black beans were the best I ever had in my life. They were absolutely delicious. I mean, out of this world. And I told him, I said, man, them are good. How did you fix those? And he told me, and he said, but the secret is you got to let them cook for about 3 days before they're any good. And there were no beans there. It was just mush. But they had the best flavor. And he said, green peppers and onions. That's it in these beans. I said, okay. He says, you want another bowl? And I said, sure. So he gives me another little bowl of them, and I ate them. Oh, they were so good. And come time to pay the bill, it come up to $4.50. I just had water to drink. $4.50. And so I left him a 50-cent tip. That took care of my $5. But that was my trip. And the next day they unloaded me and I got out of town. But man, that was an interesting trip. That was really interesting. But anyway, I'll come back. Excuse me, and tell you more stories here in just a little while. Talk to you later. Well, I made it to Michigan, and I am so glad. Just south of where I'm at, where I grew up in Hopkins, it is snowing, and there's a lot of snow down there, and it's coming in heavy. But of course, that's Allegan County, and Allegan County always gets hit bad. But my car did a great job. Old Percy, she just purred right along and done a great job, got up here. Turns out Percy is pretty sick. Percy is pretty ill. They put her up on the rack last night and looked at her, and she's pretty sick. I'll add some photos, what they found and discovered up underneath her. Okay, as you can see, this is my catalytic converter. Upon further discovery, it was clogged up at one time, and so someone took and went and cut the bottom of it off so it could breathe. And that's why my car was so loud. I was not aware of that. So now I have a brand new catalytic converter. I also have a brand new exhaust system, all the way from the engine to the back bumper. So that was one of the things that I had done while it was in Michigan. All this was done as a favor to me. It cost me nothing. And so I was very, very appreciative to my friend Norm, who did this for me. He not only did that, but he put a new nose cone on the front of my car from when it had been hit by a deer. But it was pretty amazing. For as sick as Percy was, Percy done fine. Got me here just great. I got a beautiful room. Let me show you my room.